We start very high with some sounds of a MILF elf getting smashed, and it's quite clear from her expression that the man's equipment isn't very impressive. After this, we see the female elf in her room, gazing out of her window into the night. As she notices a bird flying in the darkness and stretches her hand toward it. The next day, in Ladrone City, a young man is seen walking down the street with a sword and a bag slung over his shoulder. As he walks, he overhears two men by the side of the road talking about gathering all the young men. Ignoring them, he heads to a store and asks the owner to buy some materials. To the store owner's surprise, the materials turn out to be dragon horns and claws. However, the young man asked if something had happened in the town. The store owner then explained that there was a horde of monsters gathering and that they would attack the town. The knights who went to subjugate the monsters were wiped out, which threw the whole city into panic. However, the store owner noticed a scar on the man, which reminded him of someone. Later, the young man was seen having his meal when an old, fat man came to ask for his help in saving the town. The man added that he had heard about Chloe from the store owner and that the hero should listen to him first. Meanwhile, Chloe noticed a female elf with the man and wondered what was happening. "Damn, bro," she stacked to the heavens. The man, known as the mayor, explained that they had been attacked by monsters before, but not by the ones they were facing then, so they did not know what to do anymore. The mayor, visibly relieved, expressed his gratitude that a hero like Chloe was in town to help them. However, Chloe wasn't impressed by the mayor's expectations. He coolly replied that he wouldn't be doing anything just because he was a hero. Chloe questioned if they thought being a hero meant charity, and made it clear that he wasn't about to risk his life for someone else's problems for free. He added that abandoning the town would have no impact on his quest to subjugate the demon lord. The mayor was taken aback by Chloe's bluntness, but quickly regained his composure and promised that he would pay whatever Chloe wanted. Chloe then laid down his terms. He wanted to spend a night with the most beautiful woman in town as his reward. Bro is truly a man of culture. The people around were stunned, murmuring in disbelief that the hero would ask for a woman as payment for his services. Despite their surprise, the mayor agreed to Chloe's unusual request, and Chloe then inquired further about the monster horde, and the mayor explained that a group of undead orcs was heading toward the town. Chloe, showing his interest in the elf, asked if Lumina could use magic. Bro is straight going for the elf nice. Lumina confirmed that she could indeed use magic. Chloe then requested that Lumina accompany him in subjugating the monsters. The mayor was taken aback by this request but reluctantly agreed, as it was seen as beneficial for the town, under the condition that nothing would happen to Lumina. I can see the NTR coming. Not long after, Chloe and Lumina were seen approaching the town's entrance where the monsters were reported to be coming from. They decided to take a break, prompting Chloe to ask Lumina about her past and why she married such a disgusting old fat man. Lumina then revealed her backstory. She originally lived in an elf village, but when she went to the big city, she was attacked, captured, and sold at a black market auction. She was bought by the mayor a few hundred years ago and had since served the mayor's family across generations. Seriously? A few hundred years old and she's still stuck in this wretched life? That's just outrageous. And Chloe was surprised to learn that Lumina was actually a few hundred years old. He then wondered why she hadn't tried to escape before. Lumina explained that she had long since given up. She despises all humans and feels her life is controlled by the mayor. The collar around her neck was a magical tool that bound her. If she tried to remove it or defy her master, the curse would consume her. Despite her numerous attempts to escape, she was always caught and punished. Chloe remarked that Lumina had an erotic body and commented that he could understand why they would want to keep her. He then offered to punish the mayor on her behalf if she wished to be free. However, at this moment, a group of undead orcs approached them, forcing Chloe and Lumina to engage in battle. They managed to reduce the numbers of the monsters, but Lumina was getting exhausted since she hadn't used magic in over 100 years. While catching her breath, Lumina was suddenly caught by one of the enormous undead orcs. Despite Chloe's relentless attacks, the beast was so massive and fat that it seemed invincible. Lumina used her magic to burn the orc, but it was ineffective. As she urged Chloe to flee, but he told her to trust him. He requested that she unleash her flames once more, which he skillfully redirected and used to slash at the colossal monster, finally defeating it. The town greeted Chloe with excitement upon his return, celebrating his victory over the monsters. The mayor then told Chloe that he had prepared a beautiful woman as a reward. Hearing this, Lumina's mood turned somber, and the mayor presented a young lady as the reward. But Chloe decided he wanted Lumina for the night instead. Lumina blushed at this declaration. The mayor became enraged, insisting that Lumina was his wife. Chloe, however, smiled menacingly and declared, "I can only get turned on by a thick MILF. You see, MILFs are different from ordinary women. They have a warm, motherly nature, and the ability to gently wrap their arms around anything. Bro is truly a man of culture, a descendant of Denji." He added that he loved NTR and found Lumina's situation particularly appealing. The mayor was left speechless, realizing that Chloe was more excited about MILFs than he had anticipated. "Shut the fuck up, you old hag. I can guarantee even his sword can't stand." Chloe, dismissing the mayor's objections, he confidently took Lumina away, ensuring that she would be the one to enjoy his company that night. Lumina's century-old cravings in one unforgettable night.
It should have been me, not him! It's not fair!
The next day, the mayor, still in shock, informs Chloe that Lumina had an incredible time. He begrudgingly frees Lumina from her shackles and tells her she's free to go. Despite the mayor's disbelief and reluctance, he has no choice but to let her leave. Lumina, however, decides to follow Chloe. When Chloe tells her to go away, she insists that with her long lifespan, she will remain by his side. She bends over and vows to repay her debt, promising to protect him even at the cost of her own life. As Chloe, unimpressed, tells her not to say such ridiculous things, if she dies, he won't be able to enjoy her. He's not interested in saving the world from demons, he's focused on clapping all the MILFs across the globe. Lumina thinks he's a devil but is intrigued by his determination. Meanwhile, in a darkened chamber, Ball Dome, the Demon King's wife watches Chloe through an orb in her hand. She smirks, eagerly anticipating the chance to play with Chloe, seeing him as an exciting and intriguing man. But Chloe and Lumina arrived at Hauran village, taking in the peaceful atmosphere. Lumina admired the vibrant flowers lining the street, while Chloe's gaze was drawn to a stunning MILF with jaw-dropping curves, with her round cheeks and massive double honkers were a sight to behold, and 9 out of 10 on the lickability scale.
Damn, what is that, bro?
And as a proud connoisseur of NTR, Chloe couldn't help but notice her wedding ring. Curious, he inquired with the local florist about the village's situation. The florist explained that the village, being near the devil's slime nest, was at constant risk, but Chloe was clearly more interested in the woman with the massive milk bazookas. Seriously, they are bigger than her head. The old man informed him that Flory, the village's strongest fighter, had taken on the mantle of protector since her husband's death. Flory's grief had turned into recklessness, and she'd even offered a challenge if anyone could defeat her. They'd win the right to. Well, clap her big round cheeks, and with a smirk, Chloe straight approached Flory and boldly requested a match. Flory eyed him curiously and asked who he was and why he wanted to fight. Chloe grinned and replied, "I heard that if you lose, I get to clap those incredible cheeks of yours. And as a man of culture and NTR, I can't resist a MILF like you." Flory burst out laughing, saying she'd never met anyone like Chloe before. She explained that she was just training the villagers and didn't want to wager her body, as her deceased husband would be upset. With a smirk, she excused herself, mentioning she had training to do, leaving Chloe speechless. Later, Chloe and Lumina ran into Flory at the bar, and she invited them over to join her. Damn, they really are huge. They sat down together, and Flory learned that Chloe and Lumina were travelers, and as she complimented Lumina on her beautiful ears, and then casually mentioned, "Yeah, and those massive milkers are also top-notch, Lumina." Not missing a beat, asked Flory about her husband, whom she dramatically adored. Flory explained that her husband, Gia, was a warrior at heart who loved to challenge the strong and prove himself in battle. But more than anything, he loved protecting their village. As he took his last breath, he asked Flory to continue watching over the town, and for her, this was the least she could do to honor his memory. Lumina, deeply moved, got emotional hearing her story. But then Chloe, with his signature bluntness, asked Flory if she ever considered that she was living a useless life, and Flory's eyes flashed with anger at his words. Chloe calmly explained that it was pointless to be bound to her husband's dying wish, sacrificing her own happiness and life in the process. Chloe pressed further, questioning why Flory was solely focused on protecting the village instead of pursuing her own dreams, specifically her desire to fight in a martial tournament. He added that if he were in her situation, he'd use his power to fulfill his own desires rather than being tied down by the expectations of others. Flory, steadfast in her resolve, insisted that the village's safety was paramount and that she couldn't simply abandon it to chase her dreams. God damn, those incredibly round, fat cheeks look so good. Chloe, with a sly grin, suggested an alternative. What if they eliminated all the slimes threatening the village? Flory was taken aback by his audacity and reminded him that the slimes were incredibly powerful. But Chloe, exuding confidence, assured her that he could handle it. Then, with a bold challenge, he added that if he succeeded, Flory would have to agree to let him, well, clap her cheeks. Those curves won't go unappreciated. To his surprise, Flory, after a moment of hesitation, agreed to his terms, and the stakes were set. Later, they ventured deep into the forest where the slimes lurked. As they reached their destination, the air grew thick with tension as the slimes started to emerge from the shadows. MILFs slimes, we all know where this is going. Flory thought that they should attack the creeps together. To her surprise, Chloe casually walked toward the slimes alone, effortlessly subduing them all with a single, powerful attack. Flory's eyes widened in shock as she asked, "Who are you really?" Lumina stepped in, her voice calm and reassuring. "Chloe is the hero," she informed Flory. Just as she spoke, a slime launched a surprise attack from behind, but Lumina swiftly intervened, saving Flory from the slimy ambush. "He's not just powerful, he's also a genuinely good person," Lumina added, cementing Chloe's status as more than just a hero. This newfound realization sparked something in Flory. She activated her body's physical hardening, her skin shimmering as she began to tear through the slimes with renewed vigor. "I can't afford to get caught by these slimes," she thought. Her determination ignited. But as the battle dragged on, it seemed the slimes were endless. Flory, panting from the exertion, turned to Chloe. "Can we really keep going?" Chloe, unfazed, reassured her with a confident smile. "We're just getting started." Flory felt a surge of hope. If they could defeat all the slimes, she could finally chase her dreams. But as she fought, doubts crept in. Could she really abandon the village, the duty her husband had entrusted to her? At that moment, Flory's thoughts betrayed her, leaving her momentarily distracted. Before she could react, a massive slime lunged at her from behind, and it happened. As the battle intensified, all the remaining slimes merged into a massive, writhing cluster, looming ominously over Flory. Flory, still entangled, apologized to Chloe, her voice laced with regret for letting her guard down. Chloe's expression hardened as he spoke. "In battle, your mind was consumed by thoughts that weakened you, and that's why you were caught off guard. This is more than just a moment of weakness, it's a curse. A curse that won't lift until you accept the reality of your husband's death and forgive yourself. You've fought hard enough. It's time to live for yourself now." With resolve, Flory activated her body, hardening, bracing herself for Chloe's plan. Chloe, here, his blade gleaming, moved swiftly, slashing through the massive slime and the invisible chains of her curse in one decisive strike. Later, Flory stood quietly by her husband's grave, speaking softly to herself. She realized how much she had blamed herself for his death, the guilt that had kept her shackled. Now, with the curse lifted, she whispered a final farewell to her husband, her heart lighter. Turning to Chloe and Lumina, she thanked them sincerely, recognizing that they had not just saved her from the slime, but had freed her from the self-imposed chains that had bound her for so long. Before Chloe could say a word, Flory, with a knowing look, interrupted him. "I remember my promise. You can clap my cheeks."
It should have been me, not him! It's not fair!
Vitalized, informed Chloe of her decision. "I've decided to chase my dream and head to Clarkstown for the tournament. But before that, I have a favor to ask." She paused, her eyes serious. "I want to accompany you on your journey, to contribute as much as I can." Chloe, with his usual bluntness, smirked. "You realize you're still flashing those massive milkers, right?" And Flory's face turned beet red as she quickly tried to cover herself, clearly embarrassed by her boldness moments before. Meanwhile, Lumina, unable to contain herself any longer, had been quietly pleasuring herself in the background, fully immersed in the erotic energy